Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today's project is to tap a couple of holes. Actually, it's more like 6 holes. So one of my pastimes, hobbies, or whatever you want to call it, is fixing up old bench vices. And I have a few that have really twisted, bent handles on them. This one's in pretty good shape. It is a little bit bent. So I want to make some replacement handles for some of the other ones that I have that are really badly bent. So I bought some steel rod and I have some steel balls, and what I intend to do is drill and tap the ends of these rods. I've already got these started. If this will focus. These have been drilled, and I got the tap started in a small hobby lathe that belongs to a friend of mine. He was kind enough to let me use it. Thank you, Ed. So what I need to do now is I need to finish tapping these holes. This rod is finished, but these two still need to be bottom tapped. Different taps have, or you can get different taps, okay? And different taps have kind of different shapes to them. Depending on what you're going to be doing. So here's a set of 3 different 5/16 by 18 taps, and let me just play with the focus here for a second. Okay, so this tap is more pointy, and you'll notice the threads that are cut on them. Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. The threads it's kind of tapered. So this is a starter tap. This one just gets the threads kind of started. And if you're tapping a blind hole, like on these rods, where you're not going to go all the way through whatever it is that you're tapping, you have to then move from the starter tap to what's called a bottom tap or a plug tap. And this has fully formed threads cut all the way down to the very bottom of the tap, and this allows you to tap a hole all the way down. See how it has a flat profile compared to the more pointed starter tap. Anyways, so these I've already used a starter tap to start tapping the hole. Pretty self-explanatory. So now I'm going to transition over to the bottom tap because I need to get threads all the way to the bottom of these holes. So you're going to need a wrench or something to drive the tap. They have a square end on them, and you can drive a tap with an adjustable wrench, a pair of pliers, anything that you can use to turn the tap will work. But taps are really hard. They're like super hard, but that hardness makes them brittle. So if you have this started in here, and then you got your pliers or your wrench on here, and you kind of twist it, or if you're not perfectly straight with the tool you're driving it with, it'll snap off. These are notorious for breaking, which is why it's always good to have multiple of whatever size tap you need before you start a project, because they're going to break. They just break. So having a tap wrench, which is designed specifically for driving these, will decrease the odds that you kind of get off center and twist something weird and end up breaking it. Also critical to your success in tapping any hole is cutting oil or lubricant. I have an oil can here with some dark cutting oil, dark thread cutting oil that I got at the hardware store. And you want to just put lots and lots and lots of oil in here. Because I said so. So let me get set up here, and I'll bring you guys back once I have the wrench on the tap, and I'll try to get this to focus better. Okay, I've got the tap in the T-handle, tap wrench, whatever you want to call it, and I've already put a little bit of oil in the hole for this one, and I'm just going to start the tap. So this already, like I said, it's already got some threads cut into it, so this I can screw it in. Normally it wouldn't do this, you'd have to get it started with your starter tap first. So now I'm getting just a little bit of resistance, so more oil is more better. So I'm going to put plenty of cutting oil on here. And you probably can't tell, but I have my trash can positioned right under my bench vise. That way any oil and chips that fall out of here don't end up on the floor, they end up in the trash can. If you can't put a trash can underneath, at least put some paper towels down, because this can get messy. So let's tap this hole. So what I'm going to do is back out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just twisting this, and I'm trying to keep this as true as possible. So I'm trying to keep, I don't want to twist side to side or back and forth. This has got to stay as straight as possible. And you'll feel the resistance as you're cutting threads. And okay, right there, it's getting pretty tight. And if you pay close attention, you can actually feel the tap and see the tap twist. So the wrench moves a little bit, but the tap doesn't move. You're actually twisting the tap itself. You're not cutting any threads. That's when you gotta stop. If I keep pushing this, I'll probably snap the tap. So I'm gonna back off and break the chip. So the teeth are cutting chips inside here, and by twisting this in reverse, you snap the chip off, and now you freed up the teeth on the tap to go a little further, to cut again. So now I can go in the forward direction, and it gets tight again, so I'll back it off and break that chip. Now forward, and this is just, you're going to repeat these steps until you reach the bottom of the hole. Okay, it's getting tight. Reverse, break it off. Forward again. Gets tight, stop, reverse, forward again. It's getting tight. So the other thing you want to do, especially on a blind hole, is if you keep going, eventually you're going to reach the bottom of the hole. And the tap will not advance any farther once you've reached that point. And if you keep trying to twist, once the tap makes contact with the bottom of the hole, you're going to break the tap. So I'm going to pull this all the way out and check the depth of my threads. I'm going to look down in the hole and see what I have for threads. Of course, I thought I'd be really clever earlier. I was like, oh, I'll put both of them in here. I'll put two rods and I'll do both ends. But I had to use my knee, like I had to hold them and use my knee to tighten the thing. Well, now I have my trash can there, so I can't get my knee in. So I'm going to end up... This should be entertaining for you. Let's see if I can get this out of here without dropping them in the trash can. Okay. Anyway, so now I'll just kind of dump that out, and I'm just looking down. It looks like I have a little ways to go, but you guys aren't going to be able to tell. But it's full of chips, this thing. So what I want to do is knock this out. I want to get those chips out of the bottom of the thing so they're not blocking the tap from making it all the way to the bottom of the hole. So if you're just tapping like straight through a piece of metal, you don't have to worry about that. The chips will get pushed through the hole. It's not a big deal. But on a blind hole, it's something you got to clean those. You got to clean those chips out. So I'll get this started again. Put some oil back on it. I'm not cutting any threads, just following the threads I already cut. All right, now that's it. That's the end of the threads that exist already. So cut, and I'm going to shut up here for a second. Maybe you guys will hear me break the chips as I back off. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It's quiet. I'm only getting about a quarter turn because the starter tap didn't make it this far down to the bottom of the hole, so I can only go about a quarter turn. Okay, that's getting pretty tight. Alright, that's probably the bottom of the hole. Okay. Dump that out. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let me go get a piece of all thread. So I guess I never finished explaining earlier how I was going to make these replacement handles. So I have a piece of pre-cut all thread, 5/16, 18 all thread, and so this is going to thread in to the end of the rod, like so. And then these balls, my friend Ed has a milling machine, so we'll mill this flat. We'll mill a flat spot on it, and then we'll drill and tap a hole for 5/16, 18, and then the ball will just screw onto the end. So that's the plan. But anyways, that is how you tap or bottom tap a blind hole. So this side has not been done. So I'll do this one also for you guys, and I'll shut up. So put some oil in the hole. Again, I did have a starter tap in this one, so there's already some threads started. So oil, and here we go. Dump the chips out. Oil in the hole. All right, I think that's the bottom. Okay, and that looks good. And we'll check it again with my all thread. There are a couple chips still in the hole, so it's not going in super nice. But there you go. There you have it. 2 threaded holes. Actually, one of these is done, so I could probably thread these 2 rods together just for fun. So I haven't finished tapping this one, so I got the starter tap, so you can see the threads kind of stop and it won't go in any further. So I'll take that out. Yep, that's in this one. Anyway, that is how you do that. Short and sweet. So again, just to drive the point home, keep your tap in the hole as true as possible, you know, as true to the hole. You don't want any deflection because these taps are really hard, they're really brittle. Lots of cutting oil. Cutting oil is your friend. And, you know, quarter turn, feel for that resistance and then back it off. Break the chip and keep going. Quarter turn, back it off, break the chip again. And if you're doing a bottom tap or like a plug tap where the chips can't fall through a hole, you have to clear your chips out. Otherwise, those chips will fall to the bottom of the hole, plug the bottom, and your tap won't be able to go all the way down, and you won't get threads to the bottom of the hole. So that is that. You know, you guys, you don't have to use this style of wrench. I like these little T-handle tap wrenches. The handles, you can slide it off to one side so you can get more leverage on it, but I find if you have your handle off to one side, you're more likely to twist off center, and you're more likely to snap it. So I like to leave mine right in the center. If you are driving a bigger tap, you can get nothing. If you are driving, you know, larger taps for larger holes, like here's a nice big tap. This is a 1/2 inch, nope, 9/16. You know, you gotta have different size handles for different size taps. This one won't fit in there. But I have this kind of tap wrench or tap handle. This slides out and it's got a little V-notch where you can put the tap in it like so and turn it this way. This is a large one. I got this one on eBay. Actually, I got all this stuff on eBay. Quality taps aren't cheap. They're like anywhere from $3 to $7 a piece if you can get them on eBay. You know, I also have. Now you can walk into Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a set like this, and you can see it comes with 4 taps. One tap for 4 different sizes. These taps won't do a plug tap or a bottom tap because they are like starter taps. They have a focus. The shape of them. All right, you can't see, but focus. And we're back. So the that's fine if you're like tapping through holes, but depending on your application, you gotta have the right tap for the job. If you're bottom tapping, you need a plug tap or a bottom tap. And you don't have to use dark cutting oil. I'm sure if you just have like a 3-in-1 oil, that'd probably work too. Taps break, guys. So if you're thinking about a project where you got to tap some holes, I wouldn't start a hole tapping project without at least 2 of every type of tap that you need. So if you're doing something like this where you're doing a bottom tap, you need 2 starter taps and 2 bottom taps. You need 4 taps to do a job like this. The first rod that I was bottom tapping, I broke a tap, and like I know how to tap stuff. It happens, okay? So I was actually able to get 5 of these for like $15 on eBay. So eBay is a good place to look, because you walk into a hardware store today, you're going to buy 1, or you might buy a 3-pack, so you got 1 of each. For $5 to $15, depending on the size. So if you're thinking about tapping some holes, make sure you're prepared and have backups on hand. Taps can be pretty hard to extract from a hole if they're broken. I got lucky and mine broke above the hole, not flush with the rod, so I was able to get a pair of pliers on it and back it out. If it breaks off in the hole, that's a lot of work to get it out. They do make special tools for that. I don't have one, but anyways, I hope this was informative. If you have any pro tips for tapping, leave a comment down in the comment section. I am always willing to learn from somebody who knows better. There's always somebody who knows more than I do. And there's somebody that knows more than you about something, so keep that in mind. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time on This Old Tool 53.